is asking, is Ngunjiri running on a KANU ticket? He once declared he is a member of KANU.
I left KANU, man.
And then Felix Nyadida says it is wrong to blame court for everything. Okay. Ruth Ndegwa says, I like this Kibra MP, very sober debater. And then Nginya Ngaruma says, if I had a vote in Kibra, it would go to Ken Okoth Bass. They can still vote for you, right?
Yes, actually there's a Huduma Center in Kibra.
Is there really?
And you can come, there's an IBC desk there, you can change your vote. So I won't buy your vote, but if you think your vote matters and you want to help me, I appreciate it. Please come and change and vote in Kibra.
The new face of Kenya.
And yeah, you'll help me in 2017 to come back to Parliament.
The new face of Kenya. Okay, yes. Gentlemen, this weekend, big Thanksgiving rally in Afra Stadium, coming on the heels of the ICC cases. Let's just say, for argument's sake, they've all been terminated. Unless something new happens between now and the next few months, it is over.
It is over.
For the original Ocampo 6.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Your thoughts, Ngunjiri? This Thanksgiving rally, is it a good... And also, it could be that the Jubilee team, the two, the president and his deputy, will be declaring, now we're going forward as a team, all systems go.
Of course, I expect that's what's going to be happening. But one of the places we need to go back to, Jeff, is that, was it 2 years ago when I was on this, well, the other bench, and we were with a lady from an NGO world,
yeah.
and we were talking about the scenarios. And I said that the best scenario for this country was for ICC to just leave Kenyan, the Kenyan cases alone. Why? Because we were going to spend so much time and create so much animosity and distrust, especially within a region that was trying to just come to terms with each other. And I'm glad that finally these cases are 2 years late, 3 years late as far as I'm concerned, but I'm glad they're over. I had the privilege and the honor to be part of the teams that was trying to work on these cases, and I feel a certain sense of achievement, because what we were trying to explain was that the ICC prosecutor did a lousy job, and here we are. Now, what I'm hoping is going to be happening, and what I expect to happen on Saturday, the president and the deputy president are going to explain to the country that, look, we kept saying there was nothing in these cases. We've been proven right. We kept telling Kenyans that we can actually work together. I know the deputy president has been quoted a couple of times saying this, and I know, I am a Kikuyu, where I come from. I mean, at a certain point, the farthest community that was there was a Kalenjin. And what I keep saying, what I feel very strongly is a message that is going to be coming out of Afraha, is that if Kikuyus who are on this extreme and Kalenjins who are on this extreme can actually reach across to each other and work together in a political coalition, anybody else is in between them. We should be able to actually work together. There's nothing that stops us from working together as the Luos, as the Kisis, as the Luyas. There is absolutely, this is the beginning of the breaking down of tribal animosities.
Before I go to Mheshimiwa, real quick,
yes.
What's to stop another 207, 208 from happening? Real quick, before I go to
Because, you see, one of the things, I know I keep hearing people saying that, now, and actually that's one of the things I had the former Prime Minister saying, that now this is a blow to impunity. Let me tell you one thing. Very few Kenyans have the capacity to fight these cases like Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto have fought them. You'd have to be a very foolish Kenyan to imagine that you're going to go and get involved in some weird stuff, or you're going to or you're going to go and guide something wrong and imagine that because these guys were able to prove that they were innocent, that you can do the same thing. No, it's not going to happen.
No,
it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Mheshimiwa, your thoughts about this coming weekend Thanksgiving rally?
Let me start off with what Ngunjiri has said. He said if Kikuyus on one extreme and Kalenjins on the other extreme could come together and forge unity, this country is at peace. That's
not at peace. That's not what I said. That in every other community, there's hope for every community, other community working with everybody else.
Yes.
This is a beginning.
Okay, I get that. So our politics, what is the basis of our politics? Is it just ethnic mobilization or the quest for human rights and decency and dignity for every Kenyan? That I think is important. And now that we've mentioned that, just allow me to give you another point. I am very happy because if you look at the history of our country, not very far ago, go back to 1992 when this clashes started. Anytime there has been a major Kikuyu presidential candidate versus Kalenjin or Rift Valley presidential candidate, there has been clashes.
Yep.
We did not have violence in 2002 when the major presidential candidates were both Kikuyus. So that tells you something. Let us go forward. But number two, when you talk about victims, it's alleged Kikuyus killed Kalenjins in some places, Kalenjins killed and chased away Kikuyus from their land in other parts of this country. Fine. But we also have victims of that conflict. And let us not conflate this to a true tribal issue. There are Kenyans of all tribal things. And I think you should be proud of your culture and also qualify it with, I'm 100% Kenyan. So let Uhuru be a president from the Kikuyu community, but 100% Kenyan, a Kenyan president for all Kenyans. The Kisii victims of post-election violence haven't been taken care of honestly. That is a fact. I'm not making it up. There is Luo people who are kicked out of places like Naivasha, people who are murdered and killed. Jicho Pevu just showed us a German who was burnt, 80% burns on his body.
Right.
There is no restoration for him. He's not asking for land, he's asking for treatment. Those mothers I mentioned, victims of post-election violence, mothers who were raped in January 2008, their children are in class 1, class 2 today. They're asking for treatment for HIV. I met a lady in Kibra who was shot by the police in her hand and the bullet can't be taken away. All she needs, she's not asking for land, she is asking for money for treatment, a little bit of support to run a business. So let us move from these two Kenya tribes, major ones, from the coalitions to an issue of healing the country fully. So we're not at Saturday yet. I hope there will be a very good message coming out of there on unity and on healing. Kenyan solutions to Kenyan problems.
Absolutely.
We have two solutions that have come up since then. Number one is a new constitution of 2010. Let us implement it with robust institutions so we are never talking about personalities and thinking our interests can only be safeguarded by a personality who we must vote for. Number two, apart from the constitution and its full implementation and robust institutions to fight corruption, to promote equity, number two is the TJRC report. The TJRC report is a very credible document. If we start implementing its recommendations, we will deal with past things and then forge a way forward. The solution lies in also with the youth. And here's why we won't have impunity. It's not the threat of how much money you can have to defend yourself or whatever. I think Wakenya wamechanuka. The smart Kenyan youth, whenever you want violence in this country, you mobilize the youth who are unemployed and disengaged to go fight for you. You never see the child of any of those top politicians with a panga on the street, throwing stones, being tear gas or shot by the police back. So Kenyans, especially the young Kenyans of all economic classes, of whatever tribe, Kalenjin, Luo, Kisii, Kikuyu, never get out on the street. And this is a message we must tell them. Don't go fight for politicians. Don't. Go fight with your vote. Get your ID, fight with your vote, put it in that ballot, protect your ballot, make sure it is counted properly, and let IEBC give us valid results. Once the votes are counted, go home peacefully.
Go home.
Jeff, this guy is in the wrong party. I mean, completely.
What do you mean I'm in the wrong party?
Let me tell you.
Stop that.
No. Let me tell you.
God.
You just heard what he's talked about violence. ODM, the party he belongs to, is a one party that is not able to have a function without violence.
Come on.
Look at what happened in Weta's
backyard.
The guys who are causing the guys who are causing, but the guys who are causing chaos were wearing ODM t-shirts.
Come on.
And we can go
people
back.
Who are throwing tear gas that belongs
No. The guys who are causing chaos in Weta's function were wearing ODM t-shirts. And we've had leaders, Alado and other people, insisting that there's going to be violence. And that's what I'm saying. He's in the wrong party. However, now going back to the issue of victims, one of the things I'm really glad about the end of ICC is that we can actually finally have a conversation about victims. For as long as the ICC cases existed, anytime you spoke about victims, you automatically became an enemy to the suspects or the people who were in court.
Right.
So you could never have a conversation in this country about victims. When he talks about Kisii, about Luo victims, ICC also focused our entire attention on Rift Valley as a place where there was violence in 2007. Now ICC is gone, so we can actually now look up and look around and say, you know what, it's true, we've had a reconciliation between the Kikuyus and the Kalenjins, but we need to reach out to other places. For the last 7 years, we could not have a conversation in this country beyond Rift Valley. We could not have a conversation in this country about victims because it was not a lot of the people, we've had a group of NGOs that were using victims as a means of fighting the cases at the court. But then also we had the genuine people who were genuine victims who would have loved to be part of the process. Did the ICC know how to do this?
Did the ICC save us from violence in the last election?
I think it did.
It did, right?
I think we were at the point. First, we had a constitution that we had not implemented.
Okay.
We had never tried out the 50% plus one. One of the most amazing things about the 2010 constitution is the 50% plus one, because then you must reach out to more than 2 tribes.
But people were worried just in case some violence broke out. ICC is watching us like a hawk.
That is true.
My point is, Mheshimiwa, point is, Mutahi Ngunjiri was on the show last week, and he talked about there's a fear out there, the fear that there could be violence of a magnitude we've never seen. So the best thing in a government that comes in is a possible coalition government like we had in 07.
That's what God wants.
Well, it's a thought.
That's what God wants.
Let me first of all say we give too much credit to outside institutions. I said in my last time when I spoke here
to outside institutions.
Yes,
like ICC.
We need those
foreign institutions.
Kenyan solutions to Kenyan problems. How to resolve issues of historical injustice and conflict. South Africa did a Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission, and they did their model. It worked. In countries like Argentina, they went for punishment, and Pinochet and people were punished and lived in exile forever. In Chile, they went for a mixed hybrid or sort of forget and let go. In Kenya, we have to muddle through and figure out our thing. ICC did not give us a hope. Jailing Ruto and Sang would not heal that mother. I'm telling you, in Kibra was a bullet in her shoulder. That mother today who is suffering from HIV and has a kid in class 2 who was raped in the PEV and knows the perpetrators. That person who was kicked out of Eldoret, who knows where their shamba was. The good thing is the land, you steal it, you can't hide it.
No.
We still remember where it was.
Correct.
And that's why the colonials had to leave Kenya. They took away the land from your ancestors, our ancestors, but we could always see the land they stole from us. So let us sort this in a Kenyan way, a Kenyan solution. And the solution, I tell you, is 3-part. Number 1, we came up with our constitution. Let's implement it and be honest and show fidelity to it. And the institutions that underpin it. So people have confidence they can vote and go home and things will work and they won't be victimized. Number 2 is we basically had the TJRC report. Some people think it's not perfect. Bring it to Parliament, let us debate it. Let us debate it. We are Kenyan leaders. We will show where it's not perfect. We will show if 90% of the TJRC report is. Let us use it as a basis for justice. And number 3, credit to the young people in this country. In 2013, they chose not to go to war. You don't think there was some incitement? There was.
Sure.
And I give credit to those same young people of Kenya. Do not go fight and pick a machete against another poor Kenyan who is not known by your party leader and your presidential candidate. And when your presidential candidate goes in there, he doesn't know you even have an account at Chase Bank.
No, he doesn't.
And you can't pay your school fees.
Correct.
So let us give credit to the young people who were misled and misused once negatively to fight those battles and terrorize each other and harm each other and tear the country apart. I belong to the young generation, and I tell young people, ukabila ni ujinga. Don't use tribal basis to go kill anybody else. And number 2 is make sure you register and vote. That's the only weapon in this democratic system.
Someone like this, 10 years from now, could he run for president?
He could, but he will need to leave the party where he's at. I'm sorry, I mean, really.
Okay, maybe there'll be other parties by then.
Okay, also after 2017, Baba is not going to be in the picture.
Right.
So, I mean, he's going to be
Are
fine.
you prophesying negative things?
No, I mean, he's not going to be a political actor anymore. He'll have retired officially, finally.
Your opponents will say things like this about you. Be very careful where it is.
If I'm 76 and I'm running for
Let me ask you.
Let me ask you. He's old enough and he's leading Nigeria and bringing transformation.
Would you run for
No,
president?
but this is a good man. This is a man.
Will you run for president?
I am running for member of parliament of Kibra in 2017.
He's a
The
smart
people
guy.
of Kibra, nyinyi ni
Tell you,
boss
smart
wangu, mimi
guy.
bado niko na kazi ya kufanya.
Amazingly
Let me
smart
tell you
guy.
why I'm still running
No
for MP of
party.
Kibra. Because I have been able to do things that before I was in civil society, I'm an educator, I was running a small NGO sending children to school. Now I'm at the table where I make policy. We forced the hand of the government with civil society to implement the Karega Mutahi report. Our constitution says every child has the right to a free and compulsory education. That right is not being guaranteed. A poor child from Kibra, you're charging them 90,000 to go to secondary school, they'll never go. You've denied them that right. We've reduced the school fees, the South Africa style. School fees must fall to 55,000. And it must keep being reduced, and we must collect more taxes, which are not being collected now.
Are you afraid? Are you afraid you might be a one-term MP? Are you afraid?
You make it sound like that's such a bad thing. I'll always have a title of it. It'll be a great honor that I've served Kenyans. I live for now. I know I'm going to stand to continue serving. I have already helped in my constituency. By the time we get to elections next year, we will have moved from Kibra. We had 2-day secondary schools. One completely built at Olympic, another one that was set up at TSC teachers, but the classes were Mabati classes. I have just used CDF, small money we get every year, 90 million here, 90 million there. In the last 3 years, we're up. We've got secondary schools. By the time we get next year, we will have 5-day secondary schools.
Yeah, that's
affordable
right there.
No, but I'm just telling you.
Absolutely.
So leadership has impact. I don't run for office to be president if I have no agenda, just to march by ceremonial. I serve as an MP because it gives me a platform to change the lives of a mother in Kibra who wants her child to go to school. And if we fight on healthcare, that a person with cancer in Kibra, it's not a death sentence, can get care, because the middle class can run to.
I like this guy.
You know, but we want to make sure our people can get that.
That was your last word, because
we've run out of time.
No, it's okay. You are talking the talk. And you're walking the walk.
Yes.
Ngunjiri?
Yep.
Since he had that word, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Final words. To your people of Nyeri or beyond.
First, let me start with the people beyond. I want to emphasize what Mheshimiwa Ken Okoth has said. This idea of being mobilized by politicians to fight each other is something we must get away from. I mean, look at Okoth and I. We come from different political parties. We are here, we are having fun. We disagree, but we're not going to fight. Not now, not ever. I do not think, and I want to ask every young person in this country, do not allow yourself to be mobilized by anyone to fight your brother or your sister because of for political interest of somebody else. To my people of Nyeri, I think as we grow and as we
speak in mother tongue, you have to know your authentic.
I'm even going to kill that story there. But I think for all of us, part of the work we're going to be doing, and while I love working with people like Ken and Jeff here, is that part of the work that the new leadership, the new political leadership of this country is going to have to do is to expand the opportunities that exist. If we have, we have CDF, and the stuff that CDF is doing. I see now that you guys have limited it to security and education. Well and good. Education, national government functions. That's the way to run away from county government. But I think education is one of the things I would love to emphasize on, because education is the only thing that can remove a guy from the streets and bring him here as member of parliament for Kibra, or member of
born
parliament.
and raised in Kibra.
I know his story.
Yes.
I know his story. Education is what did it for him. Education can do it for a lot of people in Nyeri, in Kibra, anywhere in the country. And that's where we're going to put our focus.
Gentlemen, let's keep having this conversation, because this is very healthy.
100% Kenyan. Forget about those tribes.
All Kenyan?
All the time.
100% Kenyan. We have to hear all leaders saying and thinking that.
We have to. We have to. And we keep talking, because I always say this, man, we don't want to go down that road again.
We will never go down that road again.
Is that a promise?
We've got people.
Kudos to our
see
young
what has
people.
happened? What has happened? Let me tell you. 7 years ago, 8 years ago, in 2007, people like us were not there. And we are the ones who are going to, if it means we are going to get on a caravan together from different parts of this country as young people to go to any place where people want to fight and tell them this is rubbish, we're going to do it. But we're not going to allow this country to go the way of 2007 again. Not for anyone.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, let's keep talking. Let's come back again soon, okay? Come back again, as always.
And you come to Kibra to open my school and the library.
Can I come?
Yes.
Can I bring some of my books?
We're opening a school in August. Collect a lot of books. All your books that you're not reading anymore, your own book that you signed, bring them up. We're opening a new school. Again, part of my pledge. By 2017, 5-day secondary schools that poor children can walk to receive quality education. We want a Jeff Koinange library in one of those schools.
Thank you, my brother.
Cheers.
I'll be there.
Well done.
I'll be there.
Asante.
Well done to you all. Well done. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Thank
Thanks so much for watching. Keep tweeting at Okoth Kenneth, at Ngunjiri Wambugu, at Koinange Jeff. Hashtag Politics 101. Tomorrow night, gentlemen, you'll love this. These two women came to Kenya, foreigners, came to Kenya, fell in love with the country and the people. And then they decided, one of them decided to open a home for the poorest of the poor. Children, street children. Poorest of the poor. The other one, a home for disabled children. One in Kawangware, one in the deep in the Dandora slums. Two, even they call themselves Muzungus. But what they went through to get these schools open. And the challenges, death threats, stealing, this, oh, you're gonna love that story. Tomorrow night, right here on Inspiration Thursday. Make sure you catch us all, because you can't get guests like this anywhere else, and you can't get shows like this anywhere else. Thanks so much for watching. Good night, good luck. God bless this future generation of our leaders.
And these old folks.
And these old people, man, that's right.